Good evening, Drew.
Oh man, I just hit the record button in time. Holy crap. That was close. That was close.
Oh.
Hey, how we doing?
Spectacular. How about yourself?
I'll be real good in 1 second. Hang on. I gotta fix something.
Okay.
Hold on. Line 60. Go to line 60, Drew. Hang on. Oh boy. oh boy. Line 60, Drew. Line 60. You were just lying on line 60.
Line 60. You can do it.
Okay. Oh. Please work. Oh my God, please work. Okay. If you've ever wondered what it's like to be a developer.
Yeah, there's a lot of bargains between you and the machine.
Yeah. And I think I got it working. I think it's working.
So what did you get working?
All right. So I think last podcast I talked a little bit about some of the. All right, let me back up. Hold on. I'm flustered. Hold on. Oh, okay, blood pressure is returning to normal. Hang on. Hi. Okay. That doesn't look right though. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on. What is 19 degrees Celsius? Help me. 19 Celsius.
I don't know.
Celsius to Fahrenheit. 66 degrees.
Okay. That's a nice fall morning.
Yeah.
66 degrees.
I'm actually putting out a different value than I'm actually. Okay, that didn't sound right. I'm actually. Yeah. I'm. Okay, we gotta. Well. Okay. All right. You know what? I gotta just hit pause. Okay. Hold on. I gotta back up. I gotta pop the stack. I gotta pop the dock. Mm-hmm. Okay. Wait. Sign into Google Docs. That's not correct. Oh man. Everything's falling apart. Everything's falling apart. How unprofessional.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're professional podcasters.
Yeah, we're for 50 episodes deep into this thing.
Almost.
All right. So here's the deal. Mm-hmm. Follow up on Power BI project. So what happened was, okay, here I'll tell you what happened. Here's what happened. So I think it was that last episode I talked about how we were doing some skill up stuff. Maybe it was the episode before last, but on the team that I'm on at the place that I work. I'll be completely honest with you. I'm on a very, very high performing team. Very, very high performing team. They are awesome people to work with. I've got a really good group of mentors that help me shepherd all of the things that happen at the place that I work from like an internal functionality perspective. And then they also challenge you to learn new skills that maybe you didn't have before. Now, one of the skills that I sort of ignored on purpose my entire life, honestly, has been any sort of business intelligence type products. So I've never been good at working with any sort of business intelligence products of any vendor's ilk. Okay. I don't understand how any of that works. I just think that like at the end of the day, it's kind of like me in the kitchen. I just throw a bunch of things together, call it soup. And hey, here's like, that's how I usually treat my business intelligence endeavors. I throw a bunch of numbers together until something makes relatively coherent sense. And then I just say, here you go. Well, anyway, on my team, we're doing a skill up challenge, and there's actually some prestige and prize on the line, right? And I decided to go whole ham on this. So the thrust of the challenge was we had to develop a Power BI dashboard. Okay. It was up to us to decide on what kind of data we wanted to use, and it was up to us to visualize it. We had to document our process, but now here was the twist. I obviously work on a team where almost everybody in their normal day-to-day life touches SQL Server. Now, I've used SQL Server for a number of years. I'm sort of over it. Like, if I don't have to touch SQL Server again, like, I'm okay with that. That's not reality for me, but I'm hoping to get there. I am willing to try. But the twist here was we had to, number one, load data to a database in a way that we've never loaded the data before. And two, we were encouraged to use something other than SQL Server for our data repository.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, a lot of my coworkers are very familiar with relational databases in general and use things like MySQL. Okay. Now the other part of this challenge was we weren't allowed to use Azure, which seems a little counterproductive because we're supposed to be Azure all the time.
Okay.
But there's but reasons. There's reasons. So we had to do this all locally. So here's what I did. I decided that I was going to embrace my document database overlords, and I actually used MongoDB as my data source.
Okay.
So what I did, crafty individual that I am, I decided to build a container-based approach to this. So what I did is I downloaded MongoDB in a container, set up security on it because I'm not an idiot, and created a collection of documents that I was going to use to store my data. Now, the source of my data wasn't a publicly available data set. It was data that I was generating. I have a bunch of hobbyist electronics in my basement. So what I did is I built a basement monitoring sensor that monitors the temperature and humidity of my basement, because a lot of things in my basement are like water averse, right? I've got a ton of board games. I've got a lot of board games in my basement. I've got some computers. I've got some server hardware. I've got firearms. I've got 3D printers and filament. Like, I've got things that I don't necessarily want to get wet. All right. So the overall health and safety of my basement is something that I actually want to take a little seriously. So this actually has some legitimate meaning for me because I want to be able to trend kind of what's going on in my basement. So I built this sensor, and it's running on a Raspberry Pi, which means it's running ARM, which means I'm using Python. So I basically built this thing to collect data and then push it as fast as I can with the highest degree of like second level precision that I can that monitors the temperature and humidity of my basement. With me so far?
Absolutely.
So, along the way, I learned a few things. I learned that, I don't know anything about Mongo. And that was, but that's the point, right?
Yeah.
You're designed to learn. And honestly, if I was allowed to use Azure, I probably would have used Cosmos, to be completely honest with you. I probably would have used Cosmos DB to log this data, just because I think Cosmos is incredibly cool. And that's not just the company man talking, but like I think that it's actually a really cool product in terms of scale and speed. And this is coming from a, dyed-in-the-wool relational guy. But anyway, I was pushing all this data to Mongo, and that actually turned out to be the easy part. The hard part was then using that data to turn around and generate a report, because being a document database, it isn't like you can just, set up a username and password and query it. MongoDB actually has an entire like ODBC abstraction service that you can run, and that service talks to MongoDB, and then you hook up your business intelligence to that like abstraction layer.
Okay.
And then I built a PowerBI report that shows my basement temperature and humidity, kind of like not real time because we were doing this all locally. All of this data was being collected and like stored in the database, and then I could refresh the report to see it. So I wrote up all my steps, I published it and everything, and then that was that. Well, the assignment is due technically tomorrow, and I've had this done for about a week, and I'll get to like my stress level of how crazy my week was here in a minute. But turns out that at kind of the 11th hour, our team stood up an online Power BI workspace where we can actually publish our results to. So after I was done working today, I took my report and I published it, and then I thought, wait a second, now we've got an online version of this. I'm going to do one better. I'm actually going to turn this into a real-time streaming dashboard. So instead of having to refresh the dashboard, because it is now an online source, little known fact, Power BI, you actually can create your own API endpoints in Power BI. And what you can do is you can specify the schema of the data you're going to push it. So what you do is you go out to Power BI workspace, you create an API receiving point, and you basically specify the incoming schema of the data you're going to be sending, and you get like your token and your special URL that you send to and everything. But if you set all that up and you define it correctly, you can now push data in real time directly to your dashboard, and it will show the data in real time out there on the website, which is pretty cool. So now I don't have to refresh anything; it just actually does it all for me.
Excellent. That sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, so it's very, very interesting. It's been a big learning experience for me. I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm the world's best programmer, but like, posting things to APIs is kind of easy regardless of what programming language you're working in.
Yeah.
Like, that's not the hard part. The hard part for me was learning kind of a different database to store my data in, if you want to call MongoDB a database, which I think you probably could.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a learning experience, and we have a big team meeting tomorrow where we're going to kind of take a look at the solutions that people submitted. And like, I'm not trying to sound overly confident about this, but like mine's the best. No, I'm serious. Just in terms of originality and the work that I did and some of this extra streaming capacity is going to be, it's going to be pretty good. It's going to be pretty good. So I'm looking forward to getting feedback on it. I may win. There is kind of like a little prize involved here. It's nothing like substantial, but it's an interesting bragging rights exercise if I can win.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, so I'm gonna throw all in on that and kind of see how it goes. Anyway, that's my update. That's why I was so exasperated when I joined, because I literally just got it to work right up until then.
That's a good feeling.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Let's. I'll shut up. So, we've got more follow up. Here. We have some banana related follow up.
Yes, this is just very brief. So last episode we did a spontaneous ranking of various banana related food items, mostly baked goods, banana bread, pancakes, whatnot. No, it's totally fine. So we had kind of lumped banana bread and banana muffins together, and I was okay with that.
Okay.
Unbeknownst to me, my wife is not. She doesn't listen to the podcast. All she gets is maybe she overhears me occasionally as I'm talking very loudly into my microphone. But I think it was literally the day after we recorded the podcast, or maybe the week, the Monday after, we had some bananas that were kind of getting a little, a little funky, and funky bananas are the best bananas to bake with. And she decided to make some banana muffins.
Aw, how nice!
It was very tasty. I wouldn't say while they are very similar to banana bread, there are some key differences, mostly around the firmness and texture. So I'm going to pull a last-minute change to our list. I think banana bread is still the best, but I would put banana muffins second.
Huh.
They are different, but they are still delicious. They're a little firmer, where like a good banana bread is kind of moist. I think a muffin is a little drier. But it works really well, especially if you put a little bit of butter on there. Butter. So I just wanted to say banana bread and banana muffins, different things, but still delicious.
You know what? I'll go ahead and agree with you. I can't say... Yeah, the funny thing about me is I'm not a huge banana guy anyway. I mean, I will eat banana bread. I will eat banana muffins. I will sometimes eat banana pudding. But that's about the extent of it. So I'm okay with breaking out that classification. You know what? Probably a good idea. Yeah.
And for all of those who are concerned, we are out of bananas in the house, but we have a grocery pickup order scheduled for Saturday, and we will have more bananas. So
excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, good for you.
Now I have a question for you that's kind of follow-up related. Did you get your juicy fruit snacks?
I did. So, all right, time for the official fruit snack follow-up review here. So, this kind of plays into a topic that I have coming up here shortly, but I did receive my fruit snacks.
Okay.
You know what? They're surprisingly good.
Right?
They are surprisingly good. And now, when you first mentioned these fruit snacks to me, I really dunked kind of hard on the presentation on Amazon about how they were like in little fruit buckets.
Yes.
But here's the thing: like if you actually crack open a fresh pack of these things, the size of the fruit snacks, first of all, are massive. Right, like they're way bigger than any Gusher or any like crappy Welch's fruit snack you're gonna get. Like they are of a decent size. Now, if you're going by volume, you probably get the same like mass of fruit snacks than you do from like other fruit snack pack. But these things are like huge, and they're huge for good reason, right? Because they're basically infused with jelly. That's the closest thing that I can basically like describe, is that they have jelly in them. And I got these things. I cracked open a couple packs. I downed them immediately. They are, frankly, amazing. They are probably something I will order again. I've probably eaten 12 packs of them so far, and I got them Sunday. So I'm averaging... Wait, what day is it? Thursday. I'm averaging about 4 packs... oh, crap. 8... Oh. No, hold on. Wait, 2 packs a day. Carry the 1. Yeah. 2 packs a day is what I'm about averaging right now. Averaging.
That's a good pace. That's a good pace.
Yeah. So they're really good, solid recommendation. I want to drop a link to those things in the show notes again because they definitely get my endorsement. Thank you for turning me on to that.
You're welcome.
That's one of my favorite things about being an adult, by the way, that if I want some fruit snacks, I can just have some fruit snacks. I don't need to ask permission.
That is absolutely correct. You can just walk over. Yeah.
I can just do that. I can just like. Yeah. I can like look at my dog who judges me, and I can just eat these fruit snacks right in front of you, bud. Nothing you can do about it. You know, no one's going to yell at me. So, anyway,
fruit snacks aren't for dogs either, so they're just for you.
Yeah, they're just for me. He can't have any. No. So yeah, very very good, solid recommendation. If you're looking for some new fruit snacks to pick up, definitely can't recommend those enough. One other thing I want to mention real quick, since the last podcast, we often recommend TV shows and media on this podcast, which I believe you also have some media that you want to recommend here. So we'll get to yours here in a second. But I love kind of historical docuseries or docudramas, and then. I don't know if you watch a lot of Netflix these days, but Netflix has this new series out called Waco. Have you seen the advertisements for this?
No, I have no idea what this is.
All right, so you're familiar with what this is probably about, though.
I would imagine it's about the cult that was in Waco and the what is it, the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms raid on the compound.
Yeah, so this is a kind of retelling of the Branch Davidians, as they were known.
That's it. That was it. Yes.
Yeah, and David Koresh, right? So it was for those of you that aren't familiar with this, maybe there's a portion of our listenership that is too young to know what this is, which is a real possibility. Which I'm going to steer this conversation in a different direction here in a minute, but. It is a kind of a retelling. It's an interesting series because it actually takes two books and sort of uses both of the books as a basis for the retelling of the events that led up to the Waco standoff and conclusion, and then kind of a day-by-day standoff type of thing. And it's based on two books, like I said. It's based on a book of one of the FBI hostage negotiators that tried to talk them out. And it's also based on one of the survivors from inside the compound. So you kind of get the telling of the stories from both sides. And, as somebody who has read about this and somebody who remembers very vividly everything that went on, because I was a teenager when this happened, and I very distinctly remember everything that went on. It's an interesting take on the story is what I will say. If you were to compare it to other reports, like if you compare it to the official report, there are some discrepancies, but even to this day, there are people who will contest some of the official findings of how things kind of wound up there. Spoiler alert, they don't end up well.
No.
But it's very well put together. I really enjoyed it. I think it was like 5, maybe 6 episodes long, and each episode's only an hour, so you can get it done pretty quick. If you're looking for something new to watch, I would say definitely give that a watch.
I will have to check that out.
Yeah, but before you do that, you still owe me a watch of the new Watchmen.
I know. I've been distracted, and I got kind of sidetracked in my comic book reading recently. Which is something I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, all right, go ahead and do yours.
Okay, I'll do mine. So, I think I mentioned this before. I'm a DC Universe subscriber. I wouldn't recommend the service to anybody but the most diehard DC comic book and kind of fans. It's just not a good service. But they do have a lot of comic books on there, a lot of DC's back catalog. And I got an email the other day saying, hey, we have a new Batman series available to read on DC Universe called Batman White Knight. And I had never heard of this series at all. It hit me. It totally came out of nowhere. And, Siri. Yep.
Hello, Dingus.
I just got Siri'd.
You did.
That's adorable. That's staying in. And I was really kind of taken back they didn't really explain what the series was. It was just like, hey, this is critically acclaimed, and they had the cover art on there, and I was like, you know what, I'll give this a try. I like the Batman, and wow.
It's good.
It's. I would say it's the best Batman story I've ever read.
Mm-hmm.
So let me read a little bit of. I'm going to read the kind of summary here from Amazon's webpage. All right, the impossible has happened. The Joker has become sane. Batman White Knight follows the man now known as Jack Napier as he embarks on a quest to heal the city he once terrorized. After reconciling with his long-suffering partner, Harley Quinn, he sets in motion a carefully plotted campaign to discredit the one person whom he views as Gotham City's true enemy, Batman. So it's an 8-issue limited series that ran from 2017 to 2018. I guess they did like one issue a month. It is a very interesting tale where the Batman and the Joker almost kind of switch roles. It's also, I think, a very interesting commentary about things like economic disparity and the role of the media. It was just an extremely well told story. The art was just absolutely amazing. It was by a man named Sean Murphy. He wrote the story and he did the art, which is pretty impressive. You can buy it digitally for $12 or get the paperback delivered to you for $12.79 right now on Amazon. I devoured the eight issues. Just devoured them. They were so good. And I know we talked about comics before, and if anyone's interested in reading what I think is just a spectacular Batman story, I cannot recommend this enough. I'm going to drop a link into the show notes. Boom.
Interesting.
Yes.
So
I absolutely loved it.
Okay. Yeah, I think I might have mentioned before that I would love to get more into more into some comics or something like that, but yeah, buddy, I don't know. Like I said, I wouldn't even really know where to begin with something like that these days. I don't know. That sounds weird.
Yeah, I mean, this is really good. It's under DC's Black Label, which is kind of their more adult PG-13. There's no graphic nudity, but there's strong sexual innuendos. Okay. and violence, blood, dark. It's a gritty Batman story, but if you're kind of curious to see what modern comics can be like, I think you could do a lot worse than Batman White Knight.
Okay. The other little piece of media that I managed to ingest last weekend was another show on Netflix called Operation Odessa, which I tweeted about this, and it is a totally crazy story about some I hate to call them gangsters, but some drug dealers and some otherwise shady individuals that work to broker a deal between buying old submarines from Russia and selling them to Colombian drug smugglers. It's just
interesting.
It's just as crazy as it sounds. It has some very, very colorful characters in it. I would not watch it with your kids, but
of course.
It's equal parts disturbing and funny because of the personalities involved. Like, I know everybody's losing their crap over Tiger King these days, which I don't know. I might watch that eventually, but for my money, this Operation Odessa show could probably give something like that a run for its money. So if you're in the market for just a one-stop, hour and a half little thing to watch on Netflix on a weekend when you can't leave your house like we are in now, you could definitely do a lot worse than this. So that's the only other one that I kind of want to mention. So, you watching anything else, or?
The only thing I currently, my wife, when I watched Tiger King, my wife did not watch it, and she has started to watch it, and I watched it with her, and we're 6 out of the 7 episodes in, and I'm really enjoying. If you've seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. I think my favorite part of rewatching it is when I know something just spectacularly bizarre or weird or funny or amazing is going to happen. I watch her and at the television to kind of see what her reaction is, and I'm really, really enjoying that.
Oh, really? Because like she can't believe it type of thing.
Oh, yep. Or she'll have like a little theory, or she'll ask a question, and I'll be like, "Oh, honey, just strap in." Like,
Interesting.
So that's fun. The only thing I've been watching recently is I've been rewatching all of Bob's Burgers. So.
Funny.
Hulu,
okay,
yeah.
All right, hold on. So funny you mentioned that. Bob's Burgers is a show that I had watched with some of my friends from time to time. I can't say that I am like the biggest fan in the world, but I have enjoyed what I've seen. How many seasons are there?
Oh, geez. Like 8 or 9 or 10? Hold on. Apparently, season 10 is now streaming. So,
oh God, what do you
10.
watch? What do you watch that on, by the way?
I'm watching it on Hulu now that see, since Disney owns everything, one of the advantages is you can watch everything on their streaming services. So all of the FX shows, which Disney owns, have come to Hulu, which Disney owns most of. So yeah, I guess 9. Like they're on their 10th season. Yeah, I believe that is correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
there's a lot of really good humor going on in Bob's Burgers, by the way.
Yeah. I learned that my wife hates the show, so I have to watch it in shame by myself. Yeah. I just I think for me, Bob's Burgers is probably like my favorite like modern animated sitcom. I think it's funnier than The Simpsons. I think it's funnier than Family Guy. It's definitely I'm not the biggest like Rick and Morty fan in the world.
Okay.
So for me, it's Bob's Burgers all the way. It's just so it has a great mixture of like really sophisticated humor and then the occasional just like fart joke. And that really works for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get back. That's something I've been wanting to kind of go back and watch. Because honest to goodness, the last time I really binged Bob Burger, this is such a weird story, but the last time I really watched a lot of that is when I was visiting my friends that lived in Belgium a couple of years ago. I was kind of coming through, and I spent a few days with them, and they're fantastic friends of mine, and we basically went out and just kind of hung out in parts of Belgium for the day, and then we'd come back and eat a bunch of steak and frites and drink a lot of really, really good beer, and then just kind of hang out and get drunk and watch Bob's Burgers. And I got to tell you, I can do like most of those things at my own house, but doing them in Belgium is like a whole nother like kettle of fish.
Yeah.
So anyway. Cool. Any other media stuff we want to talk about before I like really give us a big downer?
No. Let's. I'm ready, Drew. Hit me.
All right. So I'm gonna bump this to next time. I don't think we're gonna get in here. So
Okay.
Paul, I'll be honest with you, buddy. I've been struggling a little bit.
Oh no, what's wrong?
Yeah. Well, so there's like a perfect storm of things kind of happening, both at my with stuff that I have to do for work and stuff going on with me personally. Outside of, current world events and the fact that like I'm not making a joke when I say I literally have not set foot outside of my house in probably 11 days. Like I don't go anywhere, which, being most of a homebody, I didn't think would bother me as much as it has. I want to go out and do stuff. I want to go shopping. I want to go do things, and I miss it. And part of the other reason I haven't left my house in a few days has been, and I think I might have mentioned this on the last podcast too, is that I was doing a lot of running to kind of keep somewhat fit during this time. and I hurt my foot, so I haven't been able to do really anything. And that has been also very challenging to sort of deal with. So I say all this in service to say that I just feel really kind of just down, right? And, that not being able to work out and eating a ton of fruit snacks and otherwise kind of eating like crap, frankly, for the last week, and not being able to work out. And then I've had some really challenging things at work come up over the past couple weeks that have really added to my stress level. There's just a lot of demands on my time right now. And I kind of look back to when I first took this job and how I was like, okay, I'm here, I'm ready to work. And there wasn't a lot to do. And I sort of wish for those times, because I am once my skill set and my willingness to take on certain challenges became known on the team, I've kind of become a go-to person for a lot of different areas of technology, right? Whether it be sort of DevOps or automation or Azure type stuff or other container-based things that are going on, I've sort of become a go-to person for those things, and that has actually kept my dance card pretty full, on top of other regular stuff that gets assigned to me like any other assignment, right? So I have just been pulled in a lot of directions. I've been burning a lot of hours at work. This also was a really particularly stressful week. I don't want to go into details too much, but I had to teach a class this week, and it's a class that I had never taught remote before. It's very in-depth. It's very cloud-oriented, and it was just very challenging. It was very challenging to do this one remote. We got through it. I don't think anybody was mad about the delivery, but I just felt like things could have gone a lot better than they did.
It wasn't up to your satisfaction. Yeah.
It definitely wasn't up to my satisfaction, and we had to skip over a few parts that I think that. And it's not like the students can't do this on their own, but I was really looking forward to doing it with them. We just hit some weird technical restrictions on what we could do for this particular class. I can't get too specific given the nature of who the students were and what it was for, but it was a less than ideal situation, and they were completely understanding. They weren't mad about it at all, but it was still an extremely stressful situation to be in. But that's kind of par for the course with this job, I think. It's you just kind of got to roll with it and improvise and kind of get through it, which we did. And I think at the end of the day, everybody's happy with how things went, except for me. Yeah, and all of that has just been kind of bearing down on me. And, I miss playing board games with my friends. I miss some of the other activities that I did. There's just a lot going on. And I've been pretty good about this whole situation. I haven't let a lot of things that are stressing a lot of people out about the current state of the world get to me. And I've been supportive of other people that have had a hard time. And, man, I just feel like it's starting to get to me a little bit too.
Yeah, it's starting to get to me too, and then you start getting guilty. It's I still have, everyone's healthy. I still have, I still have my job, and I have a nice house and a fast internet connection, and I have very little to worry about, in this time. But then you're I miss things, and then you feel bad about missing things because. All things considered, we're one of the lucky ones.
Yeah, true.
But you're right. I miss the little things. I miss, board game nights and, socializing and going to a happy hour or, that's not over a Teams meeting, because that's just drinking in front of your computer.
Right.
Going out to lunch. Being able to, I even miss stupid things like listening to podcasts during my commute. Being able to I'm just going to stop on the store on my way home. And pick up a couple things, and while I'm there, I'm just gonna look around. You can't do that now. Going to the store is almost like a military operation.
Yeah, that is
get in, get
true.
out.
That is true.
You have to be very tactical. Yeah, so like all those little things you would use as kind of a stress reliever, they're gone.
Yeah.
So all that stuff just piles up, and yeah, I know it's like, yeah,
yeah. It's just been very challenging. It's just been a very challenging time to be me, I guess, and I just need a release. And it's not even one of those things where like. If I said to my boss, like, hey, things have been stressful, his response would be, well, just kind of dial things back and take some time off. You've been going at it pretty hard. But, like, taking time off doesn't necessarily solve this problem either, right? Because, like, even if I take time off...
What are you going to do?
Yeah. It's not like I can do much different than I'm doing now, right? I can't work out. I can't go to my gym. I can't run. I can't do some of the things that I would want to do, right? I can't pack up and go on a long weekend somewhere. Like, there's not... Like, even if I'm off, I'm not off, And then, I don't know. And even if I wanted to take time off, I'm under the gun for some other deadlines that would be tough. But, I mean, those could easily be moved around. But at the same time, it's just one of those things where it's like, man, it can be rough sometimes. And I just needed to kind of complain a little bit, because I'm actually not that much of a complainer, I don't think. Maybe I am about certain things, but... I don't know. I just felt like I really needed to kind of just get that out there. I don't know, but let me shut up for a minute. We appreciate that. How are things going out there?
Like I don't know if I could compare it, but like we've got some big stuff at work that's wrapping up at the end of next week. That's taking up a good chunk of my time. There's conversations about what it will look like when we reopen the office, and that just has me, the whole idea, the whole notion of like, hey, let's start reopening the state or business or the country, like, or that just makes me super, where my internet is just going bonkers.
Yeah, you're very staticky right now. Very robot-y.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, it can't be your awesome Netgear Orbi Wi-Fi.
I have the Eero.
That's probably why. You probably need to get you one of them Netgears.
I usually don't have any problems with my Eero at all. I wonder if, I don't think it's just got to be me. Maybe it's just my Mac. Because nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Because it seems to be just me. Like my phone is working just fine. It's just my laptop. No, my Wi-Fi here is also real-time troubleshooting. This is good stuff.
Hey, it's good. It's good. You're doing great.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think everything's better right now. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're gonna go with it.
Okay.
So, like, just the panic of, like, I guess my biggest fear is, like, obviously, myself, Jennifer, like, our primary. Like, we don't want anyone in the house to get sick, right? We don't want anybody we know. We don't want anyone to get sick. But at the top of the list, we don't want Zach to get sick, right? Because he's a high risk kid. This is right? This is one of those handful of diseases that would be bad if he got it. And I'm just worried about, like, hey, like, say the office starts opening up a little bit next month, and then by summer, more and more people are going to work, and then there's this obligation that I need to come back into the office, which it doesn't actually, it's not there. Like, I've been told I can work from home as long as I want. In fact, everybody can. But just that kind of social pressure to kind of rejoin the world when I am just not ready to rejoin the world.
Yeah, I feel like your leadership would be pretty supportive of whatever you need.
Yeah, but it's that social pressure, right? It's like, oh, everyone's back at the office but Paul, and that makes me uncomfortable. I think I've made.
Have you tried telling them to suck it?
Yeah, I've made a decision, which I've been telling people out loud over and over again, just to kind of reiterate it, is, like, at least for right now, like, school is still being done. Like, they're not going to open the schools back up this school year. So that gives me until the end of summer to I can really keep Zachary safe and not have to worry about anything like that. So I've made the decision to kind of just continue living like this, right? Like never leaving my house and wearing a mask when I go to the grocery store, and getting not ordering any kind of takeout or delivery, or and to be blunt, like quarantining our packages that we get in the garage, just in case, right? So we're going to do that at least through the summer. And then then we'll kind of see what happens with school, right? Because if school's open back up and, Zachary's expected to be there, then, well, I no longer feel that would be the biggest risk in his life. And I can start going back to work. But, but then again, I'm thinking like, okay, so that's through August, and it's only April now, so that's literally like 4 more months of this crap.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And that makes me feel just awful. It's like I'm not gonna get to go to lunch with my friends, or go to a board game night, or go to a concert for at least 4 more months. And that just sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's interesting, right? Because, in my job, my manager manages everybody remotely, right?
Right.
Like literally everybody on our team works remote. So, we have regular touch points where we have, phone calls or voice chats or whatever. I'm assuming you're doing something similar now, but
yeah,
not to make you get more upset about it, but if you're the only one working at home, do you think that's going to maybe change up how you do leadership or management or anything? Or
yeah, I just don't know. Like right now we're all remote, so we're all in the same we're all forced remote, right? None of us are doing this by choice. And I think that's even different than working. I think what I think what everyone's being forced to do working remotely is different than what you were doing before, right? Because you were working remote before all this stuff happened, and that was your normal. Where for everyone else, this is kind of you're a professional, we're just casuals, right?
Right. Right.
So I don't know what that's going to mean. What's going to happen to the culture of the company when the office opens back up, and some people are there and some people are not? Are we going to be more remote friendly? Yeah. What does it look like when, my direct reports are in the office and I am not? Yeah. And those just all compound to my, my stress level as well. Cause I just don't have the answers to those questions. I'm going to just have to let go and roll with the punches and see what happens. Yeah. And also just thinking that, I have at least 4 more months of this, at least.
Yeah.
And it's just,
yeah, I see. I told you I was going to bring the entire podcast down.
Oh,
anyway, I felt like I needed to.
But it's good to talk about it. Yeah.
It is good to talk about it. We've been pretty nonchalant about it, I think, somewhat, during this whole time, but talking about it is pretty healthy too. And it does make me feel better, right? And I don't know, I'm probably going to catch a little bit of hell for not talking about this out loud as much with my immediate partner that is really in close proximity to me every day. But I don't know, I'm not trying to make her upset or anything either too, right? So there's a little bit of nuance there. I don't know. I mean, if we had listeners, it would feel good if they were listening and could hear me complain about this.
Hey, we do have listeners, and they do reach out. So
it's true. It's true. Has anybody reached out recently?
Actually, there's actually a YouTube video I meant to send you.
Oh, really?
This is this. Hold on. So,
you gotta put it in the doc. You gotta put it in the doc.
I haven't watched it, and it's just for you. It's just for you. And I feel bad that since your foot's still hurting, I didn't send this to you. So we have a new listener. It's a friend of the show, Jerry. Hi, Jerry. He's a new listener. He's a great guy. We go to concerts together. He's spectacular. I've gone on vacation with him.
Oh, wait a second. Is this the Jerry that smells nice?
Oh, it is Jerry that smells nice.
Oh, it's Jerry the Smell Nice guy. I know Jerry the Smell Nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah. He's wonderful. He's a new bestie. And hold on. Let's see. He's enjoying listening to the podcast. Drew mentioned he had some issues with plantar fasciitis. I can't say that word.
Fasciitis, but go ahead.
Fasciitis. Nailed it. And he highly recommended this video to recover from the injury. This guy does amazing stuff for fitness and physical therapy. He wanted me to pass it along. I said I would, and then I didn't.
So am I supposed to? I'm confused. Am I supposed to rub the YouTube video on my foot?
I don't know. Like, I'm going to put the YouTube link in the show notes, and then you can do with that as you will.
Well, thank you, Smells Nice, Jerry. I appreciate that. It's really kind of you to think of me. I will watch that video and report back.
There you go.
So, thank you very much.
Yes.
All right. One more topic to kind of close us out for the night. I haven't been streaming as much recently, and I think that's just a function of how busy I've been. But now that things are starting to slow down a little bit more, I'm going to be streaming some more. One of the games that I was playing that people were enjoying me watching me play was the new Doom that had launched not too long ago. I think I'm relatively close to finishing that. I could probably finish it this weekend if I really push, so I may stream that this weekend. But then I was thinking about, what I'm going to play next and what I want to kind of share. And I had a thought.
Okay.
When I was a kid, when I would play on the computer, there were some games that I really, really enjoyed. And they are the kind of classic Sierra Online games. Are you familiar?
Sort of. I kind of mostly didn't play any of these games.
But you've heard of them.
Yes, except for a handful of them. Like I did play some King's Quest. I think really King's Quest is where my beginning and end with Sierra Online. Well, maybe I'm looking at the list now. I guess Phantasmagoria was also in that list, and I did play that game. I remember that game came in like 3,000 CDs.
Right. And if I remember correctly, it's either number 1 or number 2 has some pretty problematic content.
Yes.
That's one way of putting it, I think. You Google that on your own.
But it had full motion video.
It did.
Full motion video.
Back when like 320 by 480 was like good video, right? All right,
You're not wrong.
Yeah, so let me set this up real quick. So Sierra Online was a game publisher that existed back in the 80s, maybe even before the 80s, but they were really prominent kind of mid 80s to early 90s, and they have some of the most beloved games that are out there, and they have a very, very special place in my heart. Because I remember at a very young age playing some of these games on my grandfather's 386 and 286 and like EGA, CGA adapter computers, like way, way back in the day, right? And, some of these games especially are, for a while, you couldn't play them. But now thanks to game sites like Good Old Games and Abandonware websites and even like the Internet Archive, you can play some of these. But some of these games are really, really important to me. And there's basically 3 or 4 of these games in particular that I really enjoy. And those are what we call the kind of quest games. So that is Space Quest, King's Quest, Police Quest, and then the venerable one that everyone probably has heard of, and that's Leisure Suit Larry. Now, chances are, if you are a nerd of any caliber, you've heard of these games, you have probably played and completed these games. But these are really interesting kind of artifacts of the time because they are adventure games. And the idea is that you have a little avatar that you control and you walk them around the screen. And the earlier Sierra Online games were basically real time. You could walk around using the arrow keys or your numpad, and then you would move your little character around the screen. And like if you hit the left arrow, they would start walking, and they wouldn't stop walking again until you hit the arrow again. And then you also had a prompt that you could type at. So if you were like walking through a cave and there was something shiny, you could say, look shine or look shiny. And the game would like basically parse your input and, understand what you were trying to say. And, not everything you typed in would work, and it would give you like a weird answer, and it would have you basically rephrase it to get the right input. But it works better than I'm giving it credit to. And then in later games, they went from like real-time typing to it. When you hit a key, you would get a pop-up box that would kind of freeze the game. Because if there's one thing these particular games are known for, is they are extremely brutal. Like, they are very, very unforgiving. It is very common in these games to miss something, like miss an object or miss talking to somebody, and then get to literally the end of the game and not have an item in your inventory that you need to finish it. And unless you had a save point to go back to, you literally had to start the game over again. And some of the puzzle solutions are very, very abstract in what you have to do. In fact, like Leisure Suit Larry in particular has a lot of in-jokes and content that is very relevant to the late 70s and early 80s. And unless you were like alive and in culture at that time, some of the things don't make sense. Like, I was like 7. Like, I don't know what a Quaalude is, right? Like, I don't... And there's an entire like thing that you have to like figure out around Quaaludes in that game. And like, I had no idea, right? So, I don't know. Anyway, I say all this to say... Go ahead.
Real-time follow-up. I just got a push notification letting me know that another box of those gummies will be delivered on Sunday.
Good for you. By the way, Sunday was my delivery day, too, for those, by the way.
Sorry, I thought that was very pertinent for the show. Please continue.
Yeah, no, but you're really missing out if you don't eat those gummies. But anyway, I say all this in service of that after I finish Doom, I might go on a little kick on my Twitch channel where I play some of these classic games. And I'll basically kind of do real-time narration and storytelling and reading of these things as I go through them. I have played almost all of these games. I have played all of the Space Quest games. I have played almost all of the Leisure Suit Larry games, except for some of the ones that have come out like in the past decade, because there was a little bit of a resurgence there. King's Quest, though, I think I've only played up through King's Quest 5, and there's like 7 or 8 of those things. Police Quest, I've played both of those, and then they got some like high definition. I use the term extremely loosely, like remastered editions that totally change up the game, that I'm not a huge fan of, but I may play through those as well. So if you've been kind of following along with some of my Twitch antics and you want to see some classic DOS gaming on there, I'm strongly considering doing that. I just kind of have to figure out the best way to like make these games full screen so I can play them, which you know, these games were designed to run on, oh God, I don't even know, like not even 640 by 480, right? Like some really old school resolutions.
Oh, before what was before like VGA,
right? EGA, like CGA, Hercules, like some of these really weird resolutions. Now, a lot of modern like DOS emulators can handle that gracefully, but playing this on a 3440 by 1440 widescreen monitor might be weird. So I have to figure out those little technical challenges then of them, but then I'm probably going to get into it pretty hardcore. So I don't know.
Yeah. So CGA was like 1981, and it was 820 by 200.
There you go.
Then EGA was an 84, and that was 640 by 350. And VGA was in 1988, and it was 800 by 600. That was the days. Yeah. And then Super VGA, 1024 by 768.
Right.
And I had a friend who had an SVGA monitor like right when they came out, and I was so jealous.
Yeah.
Oh, I had all the colors.
Yeah. No, I mean it's a real thing. Like I remember that my first PC, right? Because we had Apple computers when I was growing up. My first actual PC that I had a 640 by 480 monitor. And I had that monitor for a very long time, because this is back when like computers and monitors were like ungodly expensive, right?
Yeah.
Like, $2,000 for a 486 with 4 megs of RAM was like pretty common, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
And that was like a middle of the line one. But I had a monitor that I bought that came with that was actually a pretty good monitor. I held onto that for a very long time. And then I got a game that only had 800 by 600 resolution. Now my graphics card in my PC could handle it, but my monitor could not. Like my monitor's max resolution was 640 by 480, so I couldn't even play that game, and that's like the first time I really understood how resolutions work and refresh rates work. So that was kind of eye-opening. Anyway, so keep an eye out for the Twitch channel if you want to see some classic DOS gaming. So anyway, that's all. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it'll be a fun adventure. They're adventure games, and they can be funny, and I can kind of give like my personal history playing them. I think it'll be interesting if you're like a fan of me at all.
I totally am a fan. So
Oh, thanks, buddy.
I will be there if I can swing it.
Sweet. Well, what do you say we go ahead and wrap this one up?
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
We are, as always. I'm sure they're doing their best. That's the name of the show, right?
Yeah.
We hardly ever say it. You can find us on the internet at doingtheirbest.com and on the Twitters at doingbestpod. You can find me on Twitter at Paul Baylor. That is BAHLER. And where can we find you, Drew?
Yeah, I'm over on Twitter at Pitfurg, PITTFURG. Come on over there and hang out come for the tech shenanigans and snarkery and stay for the dog pictures. I'm over on Twitch as well at Pitfurg, PITTFURG on twitch.tv as well if you want to see some of these classic games or me just kind of hang out and code or play other games. So hope to see you there.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Until next time.
Yep. Thanks for listening.